We're in Ulaanbaatar, capital of Mongolia. With the end of communism, this Asian state's economy collapsed. Unemployment and alcoholism are rife. We discovered orphans huddling against hot water pipes in underground holes, along with cockroaches. Why are you homeless? Where are your parents? This boy says that he doesn't even know where his parents are. They moved from the countryside when he was only 4 and he got lost on the road. There are thousands of homeless from broken families. In winter, the city of Ulaanbaatar can get colder than the North Pole. These boys tell me that there have been horrible accidents in the past, sleeping down in these holes up close to the water pipes. And they say that sometimes these junction boxes burst and the homeless people sleeping down here are boiled alive. These lost boys are a symptom of a society in turmoil. Mongolia is struggling to transform itself from a post-communist disaster into a modern economy. Many people have fled the city for the countryside. We heard Mongolia is now in the grip of a gold rush. The miners are known as ninjas. Wow. We're travelling across a vast and practically uninhabited landscape looking for ninja miners, but Mongolia is so sparsely populated that it's like trying to find needles in a haystack. Mongolia has only 2.5 million people, but it's 3 times the size of France. After driving for 16 hours, we finally encountered signs of life. It's what passes for rush hour in Mongolia. We followed, hoping they'd lead us to the mysterious ninjas. I climbed the hill, not knowing what to expect. And there they were, thousands of ninjas digging the riverbed below. Others hacked away at the hills above. After the emptiness of the steppe, this looked like a refugee camp in a war zone. I'm walking between whole families that have, like traditional nomads, up sticks and come to live here in this devastated valley. And some of them are in traditional gear, but some others look as if they were people who just sort of walked out of a shopping mall. I spoke to a miner named Davdorj. What did you do before you became a ninja miner? He told me he'd been gold mining for 6 months. He used to work for the state. He drove a truck for the water department. And then in the post-Soviet era, everything collapsed and he lost his job. He didn't have any choice but to go into ninja mining because he was too young to get a pension. What he's telling me is that these are vertical holes, but they connect up horizontally. So it's like a warren of tunnels down there, held up precariously by earth columns. The rock hacked out of the mines is carried to the riverbed where women sift it for gold. I met Biamba and Oyunchimeg, who told me the strange story of why the miners are known as ninjas. She's using a bowl, which is what gives these miners the name ninjas, because they say that these pans look like the shells on the backs of the cartoon characters, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Bizarre, but that's what they're called. So there's gold there. And she's got one... Ooh, yes. And that's what these women are going for. A few flecks of gold in the bottom of the pan. They told me the work was backbreaking and that each day they had to shovel tons of rock. She says the work is very hard. She has to walk here 7 kilometers and then she walks all the way back at the end of the day. Do you feel that this is a good job, or would you rather be doing something else? She said her options were limited. She says that she doesn't really see any future in mining and she would like to find some sort of other employment, but it's the only thing that she can get. Unlike most people in Mongolia, the ninja miners have got money to spend, and so there are markets springing up here in the middle of the camp. You can buy a pair of boots, and then just next to a hole that goes down 20 meters that could cause you a serious injury, there's a pool table. On the banks of the Ongin River, I met Davasuran. He's a local livestock herder who's now become an environmentalist. He told me why he was angry about the gold rush. He told me most rural Mongolians are nomads who rely on herding livestock, and water is scarce in the desert. He says that this river used to be 20 meters across, and it used to supply thousands of livestock and people. And now he says there's no river left, and that is what is causing desertification here on the northern edges of the Gobi. What does your movement want to do about this catastrophe? He says the movement is willing to fight to remove the miners because they want to see the rivers flow again. For 2 days, we followed what was left of the river downstream. On the road, we pass ghost towns of destroyed and looted old buildings. These are the remnants of the communist infrastructure that was destroyed after the collapse of the Soviet system. Some blame Mongolia's expanding deserts on global warming, but on the ground, nomads say mining is to blame for the environmental crisis. It's hard to imagine it, but I'm standing in what the maps say is a permanent river that goes into a lake which is 20 kilometers across. The maps don't refer to reality because both the river and the lake have simply ceased to exist. The only person around was a nomad with a bad hangover. He says the lake dried because the Ongin River dried up, and he himself blames it on the gold mining. When the water was here, there were about 100 families camped around the lake. But now that there isn't any lake at all, they have all moved away. Mongolia has 35 million livestock, but there's not much money in herding. So now we're in the Gobi Desert, and it's a bleak, arid environment. You look 360 degrees on this landscape and you cannot see anybody. Under this desert, the world's second largest gold reserves are waiting to be exploited. We've been driving across the Gobi Desert all day, and we've stopped